This is Tina. Hi, Matt.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Very well, thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day. The sun's shining.
Awesome. Well, it's good to talk to you, and excited to hear your story. And congratulations on Member of the Month.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we really want to hear from and learn about all of our writers. Especially the ones who are super engaged, as you are, Tina, and hearing from you directly is, I think, better than hearing from me all the time.
Yeah.
So members such as yourself will be sharing in this series. So you're kicking this series off for us. So Tina was given questions beforehand so she could prepare. She's live from, I believe you're in New York, correct, Tina?
The sticks of upstate New York, yes.
Very cool. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Tina, I'll be here just listening. If you have any questions or anything, I'll be right here. So take it away.
Okay. Thanks for the nice intro, Matt. That was nice, and I love the program. I think it's terrific. Meeting a lot of the writers, and we're just learning a lot from each other as we go, and learning a lot too from the lessons and the program. And they're just awesome resources that you're giving us, to view and to read. Anyway, as Matt said, I'm from upstate New York, and it's about a 4.5, 5-hour drive from New York City, so quite a ways away. There's actually a humongous state north of the New York City area that a lot of people aren't aware of, with beautiful rolling hills and lakes and so on. So it's really a pretty inspirational place to live. It's quiet, but very inspirational, very beautiful and full of nature. So I actually grew up here, moved away to a small city, Corning, New York, for many years after college, and came back here when the house I grew up on came on the market, and I was able to move back into this house my great-grandfather built in 1904. So that's pretty inspiring. I started writing many years ago. I actually started writing, I was a closet writer in high school. I had some wonderful English teachers, but I was so shy about not being a good enough writer or whatever that I never really shared anything with my teachers, and I didn't seek out their help. So I would write on and off for over the years, and finally I got an idea for a novel. And in the early 2000s, I actually wrote that novel, wrote the second one, and I self-published them because I was too impatient with the whole process of, getting rejected. So I did self-publish them, and I found a really good publisher to help me with that. And I was also writing short stories and poetry. And then about 8 years ago, I really decided that I wanted to switch to screenwriting. And that was the point when there started to be a lot more really good screenwriting programs out there, and books and articles and so on. As the internet grew, so availability for screenwriting resources grew. So I started taking classes and writing. So it's been about 8 years. I just completed my first Write for Hire project with a Canadian producer and animation, and I loved writing animation. I really hadn't written it before. And since I'd written a lot of poetry, I put that to work writing the lyrics, for the music and the animation. So whether or not, I'm expecting that a lyricist would probably rewrite them, that's fine with me. It was more about getting the gist of the song out there, the idea for the song. And using my poetry background really helped, getting that. So I would expect that most, if not all, of my lyrics will be rewritten, but it's fine. So I've had a couple roles in independent films too, and they helped me to understand more about the writing process, how to write scripts, what do actors need, what do directors need, and so on. And also I did my own little short film a couple years ago called Country Club Confession, little 5-minute dark comedy that I wrote, and it's on Vimeo, actually. I could leave the link. And what I want to do is start making some shorts on my iPhone, and I bought a couple pieces of equipment like a gimbal, housing and a few things and lenses to use in that process. But I've only really begun doing that. I also found for my iPhone a great app to use for shooting called Filmic Pro. And I think if anybody checks it out and you see all the options that come with it, there is a lot of learning to do, even to use that app. So I'm in the process of learning that too. I think everybody should shoot, every writer should shoot their own stuff, shoot, shorts, just start out small. If you have access, I don't really have access to a lot of filmmakers in this area. So I actually tapped into a friend that I had at a local TV company who helped me, with the camera work. He did the camera work and so on. But we filmed outside and the day turned out to be windy. I would recommend that filmmakers, if you don't have great weather, maybe shoot your first couple films inside until you get that part down. Because I ended up having to call all my actors back to do their lines, and then I had to match it up. Luckily, I've got a lot of audio background, so I was able to do a pretty good job, I think, of getting everything to match up. And I also had to add the ambient sound because that was all couldn't be used. So it was really kind of fun to do. But since I had done a couple of years ago a full cast audio book of my first novel, including sound effects, I did everything from start to finish. A local person did the music. So I already had a good grounding in audio. So it wasn't too tough to do it. But if you don't have a grounding in audio, then, not getting your sound right while you're shooting it is going to be a big problem. Anyway, just, to wrap that up, I think a writer should shoot some of their own stuff, even if it's just for your own reference. And with actors, learn how to work with actors. I love that part. Directing that part was really fun. But you learn as a director, producer, you learn all the aspects that you need to for writing. So in the future, I would love to do another animated project. I found out that I really, really liked it a lot because as a writer, you get to be the director. You get to move all the characters and do all the crazy action that you can do with animation. So in a sense, you are the director, at least in this, first script. I've also written a couple of treatments for comedies that I'd like to write. I actually have a background in, I do a lot of sci-fi. My novels are science fiction. And I've done a couple sci-fi scripts. I've also done a rom-com animation. I've done a motorsports fantasy. I've written a sports biopic. And I wouldn't say that I'm really settled on a certain brand. I'd rather say that I'm settled maybe more around writing really good dialogue and good action. I think those are kind of my brands, not so much a genre. I'm also in the outlining stages of a supernatural thriller. It's an idea I've had for years. I'm really passionate about. I think I'm passionate about everything I write about. I don't try to write to trends, especially what's trendy right now isn't going to be trendy in 2 years, which is about the time it takes to really develop a concept and really write a script and start, marketing and getting it out there. I don't try to write like other writers. I learn from them, but I don't try to, be like another writer. I try to be authentic myself and just try to do the best writing I can so that the reader really, really sees it. Let's see, what else am I doing? I did have a breakthrough last week. To me, it was a huge breakthrough. And I've done some research and really couldn't find anything about this aspect of outlining. So we've read so many articles, like in the program, there were some really good articles about character. Character's so important. The journey's so important. We know this. Well, I've always written plot first and fit the character in. What I'm doing with my supernatural script is writing character first. So I'm putting my character journey, plotting that out through the 3 acts of my feature film, which you could do it in any kind of writing. Putting all of my character aspects, my character's flaw, my character's dilemma, putting those things in the outline first, and then I fit the plot in around it. And I've been struggling with this outline for months, and I think it's the best outline I've ever written.
That's awesome, Tina. I
Yeah.
mean, the outlining phase is the most important phase because I mean, for me, when I first started and I didn't outline, I would just get lost in where I was going, where I should go next, because I was just writing on a whim, as opposed to trying to keep some structure. And outlining is hard, but that's definitely where the good writing comes from, is having a solid outline. But,
it's the heavy lifting. It's really creative. It's really creative. It's the heavy lifting that you really need to have that map. I do anyway. I need to have that map to follow.
Yeah. And that's the thing about what we do at Get It Made is we purposefully take these tiny bites and we pack them all full with, for a lack of a better analogy, but flavor, and we put as much as we can in those 5 minutes, and then we just take that bite, and then that's what that's it. We don't try to do the whole entire thing, because when we try to do the entire features, put all of our eggs in one basket, it's pretty draining, pretty taxing, and it's only one piece of material, as opposed to like creating a bunch of stuff in a script vault, multiple ideas that all have 5-page production viable proof of concepts attached, and creating a script vault. So you as a writer have multiple pieces of intellectual property available. But Tina, you're a perfect example of someone who, if they work, it works if you work it. You're working the program. We really wanted to make everyone aware that we're doing this member series, and we wanted to, invite you to be the first because of your engagement in the community and your scores and writing and all that. So I really appreciate you sharing your time with us. And yeah, any last words there, Ms. Tina?
Just the whole proof of concept idea and the competition that's going on, and so is really making me I think it's really making me a better writer. Just trying to prove.
Mark has a question. There's a member on there that I think has a question. You want to answer that real quick? Let me see. Do you see what the question is? If not, I can get it for you right now.
Is there like a chat? Do you currently have representation as an author or screenwriter? I had representation. I had a manager for a couple of years, and it didn't work out well. I don't know how else to put it. It just didn't work out well. So currently I'm not.
And in my experience, it's best to be a champion of your own work in the beginning, and then when you get to a certain level, those people are going to be important to help negotiate for you, but they're not going to help you get to that level. What they really, if you get a manager at a lower level, it's really, they're not going to be able to help you get jobs. Let's just say it, put it that way. And then also, there's an expectation that you have on the relationship. Like, I thought you were supposed to give me jobs. Like, I thought you were supposed to get jobs. I'm supposed to get 5% of those jobs.
Well, there is a difference between managers and agents. Managers are actually supposed to help you develop your career, where agents are all about selling. But it wasn't working that way. So maybe once again.
The manager needs incentive to stick around, whether they're being paid or they believe in the person, something has to make them want to, invest that time in that writer. So, but awesome question, Mark.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you.
Gina, we really appreciate your willingness to share, and, just go ahead and press end right there.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching. Thank you. It was fun. Thanks. Bye-bye.